He was driving with his right hand on the wheel, and he was tipped over with his body kind of leaning out the window. And as I was passing, I was like, that's Kenny. Kenny, Kenny. I started screaming his name out, and he just started smiling. He never waved. He just started smiling, and I tried to pull back over, and I woke up. So I woke up about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Couldn't believe it. Didn't understand what that dream meant, but I was super excited, the fact that I was able to see him, and that he let me know, I still have your back. I'm still here for you.
Right.
So it made me feel like I would stop traffic just for you. And it put a special place in my heart in that dream. So days had went by. I didn't understand what the dream was about, but I was just excited that I'd seen him.
Right.
As I was driving to and from the work on a daily basis, I drive far to work, and I need my car. My car started hesitating, started acting up, and I didn't know what was wrong with it. And my car at that point was about 10 years old. And I was like, well, I can't afford to do a new car right now. I just got this new house a couple of years ago, and I'm just trying to get settled and put everything in the house that I need. And, I'm going to ride it out as long as I could. Well, a couple of days had passed, and it was to the point where I was getting really nervous, and I didn't want to break down on the street. So I started looking at some cars, and I didn't know, if I could afford to honestly handle a new car at this point, and with all I had dealing with. And one day I came home. I got the numbers for the car. I got the figures. I got some books, and I said, I don't know if this is going to happen. I don't know if this is going to work for me. And you know what? I'm just going to pray on it. I went to bed that night. And when I went to bed that night, I kind of went into the thought of that dream.
Okay.
And it slowly came to me. It was a no-brainer, but I was trying to see other things in the dream, but I couldn't see why that dream happened. And I realized, Monette, that the dream wasn't just to see him. The dream was saying, I know right now things are a little tight, but I don't want you to worry. You can get that car. I've just paved the way for you to get that car. I just cleared the way. What he did was he said, I'm moving over. You go. I got you.
Absolutely.
So I went back to the dealer. And when I went back to the dealer, they was like, oh, I have this color. And the colors that I had in my mind on the car that I wanted, if I chose that car, they had it in stock. No coincidence. And he said, well, does the number sound comfortable? If I can get you into this car tonight, would you drive away with it? And I said, okay, who wouldn't? So He ran the numbers, and it came back and said, congratulations, you're a new car owner. And the first thing I said was, thank you, nephew. Because now it all made sense.
Yes. And that gives me incredible goosebumps. And it did when you told me the story initially a few years ago. And I remember when you got your first car and how well you took care of it and everything. So when you told me, oh, the car's acting up. But when I heard the behind the scenes, I thought there is not only life after death, but our loved ones never lose touch with what we're doing. They may have their own work to do and their own evolutions to continue along, but they never lose touch. And to some people listening, they may think, oh, well, she wanted a new car. It's a coincidence. It is not. It is 100% not a coincidence. Especially, I find it fascinating now that you were not dreaming about him on a very regular basis. So you couldn't, just say, well, I have 3 dreams about him a week. So you could just pull and interpret any one to mean what you would like it to in your life. This was a very specific dream for a very specific time. And it reminded you not only that we are connected, but there are blessings that come from our loved ones and ancestors that watch over us, that are past. So that I've always loved that story, because if anybody that knows Kenny is listening, that is so authentic for him to energetically clear the way for something like this. He loved new things. We talked about it at the top of the show.
Oh yeah,
that was his jam. So and he loved to see Donette shine, and he loved to see everybody in his family shine, not just Donette. So if you could have something, he was happy for you in a genuine way. He was never a hater. Not ever. That is not him. He was always uplifting people. So were there any other things that happened in regards to connections or dreams to him? Is there any other way that that you connect? And I ask that because some people may not have a dream. What other ways does Kenny come to you?
Well, in my 3 dreams that I did have, the other dream was he didn't physically come to me, but that dream I associated with him with being a butterfly. So the butterfly means that you're flying free. It's your loved one just living life now at this point since they've crossed over. So every time I have a butterfly sighting, I always say, I love you, nephew. So butterflies are always around me. The first Christmas that we were without him was very, very tough. And I was sitting outside in my chair, and I was so emotional because this was, again, the first time without him. And, you know, he always made sure Christmas was a big deal for the kids as well as his family.
Right.
And I remember sitting out there, and I just cried, broke down, cried. And before I could look up, a beautiful butterfly came and sat on my balcony on the front of my house. And it just sat there, and it's like it stared at me. And it's like, to me, it made me say, stop crying. You're fine. You're good. I'm good. Stop crying. That butterfly literally sat out there like it was my dog. And it sat there with me the whole time I sat there. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
So every time I see a butterfly, whether it's on someone's license plate, I can be thinking of him. Something can come up. I can hear his voice. I can replay his facial expression. Something comes across me. I would see a butterfly come across, whether it be on a plate, whether it be on a sign, whether it be flying across somewhere. It's just that butterfly is him.
It is him. It is. It really isn't. And I just want to mention something, guys. I'm always talking about the ways that we're communicated with, whether it's from our angels or our ancestors. And I really love that Donette pointed out that it could be on a plate. She's talking about a license plate. Sometimes we see the repetition of numbers when we're talking about angels, but loved ones do this too. I've had my own situation where my father has passed, and he always puts 2 palm trees because I drew them on his tombstone when I went, and he puts M and M. His name was Moses. My name is Monette. I can't tell you how many license plates I've seen that on, and it's a weird thing to see on the license plate. I mean, palm trees, we're in Florida, I get it, but the M and the M, I don't know that that's a coincidence,
right.
You know? Right. So I really like that reference because every loved one communicates and moves energy and shifts time in their own way. And for Donette, Kenny comes in as a butterfly. So when she just happens to look up and she thinks, oh, it's a coincidence, I looked up and the car that's in front of me that's been kind of irritating me, and now I'm really paying attention, has a butterfly, it's because Kenny was trying to be like, hey, Net, pay attention. Right. I'm talking to you. And that's how it happens, guys. So pay attention to how your loved ones communicate. We'll talk in a minute very quickly about how that happens, but I'm so glad you mentioned that. I want to ask this, though. How many years has it been since this has happened? Excuse me, not how many years has it been? It's been 5 years now since this happened, but I wanted to know how the listeners can help that are local, that might know any information.
Well, Monette, anything that anyone has seen, heard, thought, know of, even if you think it might not be anything worthwhile, you can reach out to the Palm Bay Police Department. They are more than willing to investigate, help. You know, sometimes people feel like they can't, they don't want to, they're afraid, they're scared. Please don't be. Those are our emotions, and those are our emotions because the crime has not been solved.
Yeah, I was going to say that's
an unsolved crime.
Okay, that was my next question. Where does it stand? So it's still unsolved.
Yes, and I know somebody out there knows something. But I'm asking you, please bring your loyalty of what you know to the family, so we can receive justice. So Kendall can receive justice. So we can put him to rest, and we can have some closure with our family. You can remain anonymous. And like I said, even if you think unsure, don't know, heard of, please share that.
Okay, and when they're wanting to contact you or the Palm Bay, they know how to contact the Palm Bay Police Department in reference to Kendall Terrell's case. But if they want to get in contact with you, is there a way that they can do that? Or do you want me to link something on my Facebook as a way to contact you?
Yeah, that would be fine. We'd appreciate that.
All right. So I will make sure to get Donette's information up when we post the show. And that way, if you have any information, insight, tips about this case, this unsolved murder case, please come to the family, come to the police, come to somebody. Again, she mentioned there is still reward money available, but it's not about a reward, guys. If you get that, then that's wonderful. Kudos to you. But what it's about is bringing much needed closure to a family. While Kenny still communicates and is lovingly around his family, there's still a justice on this earth, an injustice that needs to be rectified. It needs to be resolved. And so if you know anything, we ask you, please come forward and know that you can do so in complete anonymity and confidence, and we will get the information to the right people. So, Donette, I want to thank you so much for coming and being vulnerable and sharing this story. I have carried you and Kenny and your family in my heart since the moment you called me that day. And I only pray continued strength and blessings for you and resolution. I pray that this show is helpful in any way so that we can move this case forward towards being solved as Kenny deserves.
Monette, I thank you for allowing us to share this story on your show. And I'm so grateful and thankful to God that you have come into my life and you are that voice in between us. So thank you.
You are so welcome, Donette. I'm so glad that you could join us today, and we will make sure we get all that information up so that people can contact you, and we'll get a picture of Kenny up so that people can see this beautiful man that bought us all.
Oh, he's handsome.
So
he's handsome.
So much joy. He is. That's an auntie right there. Proud auntie. He is handsome.
Yes, he is handsome.
Thank you, Donette. I want you to have a beautiful day, okay? I appreciate you.
Thank you, Monette, again.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, that was my dear friend Donette being brave, and she always is. So funny for me to hear her say that she didn't think that she did enough or that she might have let him down. She absolutely has not, and you can tell that from what you've just heard. A warrior spirit in Donette. Sagittarius usually do have that kind of warrior spirit. You guys are very tenacious. So shout out to all my Sages. Shout out to Kenny and Donette. Thank you so much for holding the flame for Kenny. And Kenny, thank you so much for being such a bright light that no one can ever stop talking about you. Doesn't matter how long you've been off this earth plane. We feel your energy and we acknowledge and appreciate you. I wanted to give a few quick tips for those that are listening about how to understand if you're getting signs from your deceased loved ones. This is something that comes up all the time in my readings. People call me and they'll say, do you do mediumship? And the thing is, I've had people's loved ones come through to me, but I can't say that I'm a medium. I've been to mediums. I've been to seances. I've had my father come through. I've had various things happen, but I can't say that that's not my specialty. When it happens, it usually happens in a dream state for me, that people's parents and loved ones will come through because they know that I am an open portal in regards to that, meaning my energy is cleared, grounded, and protected, and I am able to hear the message and relay it without fear. And they never come scary. That's one thing I did say as my gift started to grow in my late teens and early 20s. I was like, I can't handle any kind of craziness, Lord. I just need you to make sure these people aren't standing by my bed at night. If they want to talk to me, come to me in my dreams. I can handle that and make them be nice. So I've had tea with people's parents, or they've come and talked to me on the train in a dream, but never anything scary. It doesn't happen that way for me, and I'm so very grateful. I'm not Teresa up there in New Jersey who does the mediumship, and she's fantastic. But what I will say is there are some definite signs, and Donette hit on a couple of them. And it's very common. There are direct methods of communication that can happen. They occur anywhere, at any time. But they're most common when you're alone and aware of your surroundings to take notice. Like Donette said, she took notice of that butterfly. Now, we've talked about insect animal totems. I do believe that most things have a message. Not every single thing that flies across your path has a message, guys. But what she said was a very key part to when you know you're being communicated with. She said that butterfly stopped and stared at her and was like a dog. Well, we know that butterflies are incredibly free-spirited and whimsical. They don't stand still for long. So the fact that it had stood there or sat there or lit there